alaikum wa rahmatullah. Let me talk a little bit about happiness. No doubt that all human beings, regardless of their race, nationality, age, whatever, they all search for happiness. It's a very puzzling question though, how to attain happiness. If we ask this question to Quran, like many other puzzling questions, Quran throws us very clear and definitive answer to this question. In this context, let me bring the verse in Surah Al-Nahl: "Man amila salihan min dhakarin aw untha wa huwa mu'minun falanuhyiyannahu hayatan tayyibah." Those who does righteous deeds, be he a man or she a woman, regardless of the gender, but the condition is that he is a believer, وَهُوَ مُؤْمِنٌ. So if he fulfills this part, which is the iman and the belief, then Allah fulfills his part. So it's a conditional statement. فَلَنُحْيِيَنَّهُ حَيَاةً طَيِّبَةً. I will for sure let him lead a hayat tayyibah, a very nice, prosperous, happy life. So here the happiness is tied not with money or with gender or with race or with nationality or with any kind of thing, except with just one thing, which is the belief in Allah and this day of judgment and all the articles of faith. Really, in our times, it's basically submitting to Allah through the religion that He is satisfied with. That is the religion of Islam after the Prophet Muhammad came. So we can expand the meaning of this ayah by the opposite of the ayah, or the negation of the ayah, meaning that those, be he man or woman, that do not fulfill this condition, which is the belief, then he will not have a prosperous life, meaning he will suffer an unhappy life, sad life, miserable life. There are other ayat in the Quran that details the meaning of this unhappy life led by those who do not follow the true religion in a great details. Let's read the ayah in Surah, towards the end of Surah Taha, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَمَنِ اتَّبَعَ هُدَايَ فَلَا يَضِلُّ وَلَا يَشْقَى وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى. Those who follow the message and follow the path and the revelation brought from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and conveyed to mankind through Prophet Muhammad, those who follow it, they will never go astray and they will never be miserable. But those who turn their back and do not listen and follow the revelation, i.e. Islam, فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا. He will suffer a very constrained life that's full of difficulties, hardship, a miserable life. Moreover, on the day of judgment, he will resurrect on the day of judgment in the state of blindness. نَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى. He will immediately ask Allah, saying, لِمَ حَشَرْتَنِي أَعْمَى? O Allah, why you have resurrected me blind? وَقَدْ كُنْتُ بَصِيرًا. While in this world I was not blind, I could see everything, I was basir. So Allah replies saying, كَذَلِكَ أَتَتْكَ آيَاتُنَا فَنَسِيتَهَا وَكَذَلِكَ الْيَوْمَ تُنْسَى. It's because the message and the revelation came to you but you did not give it attention, you neglected it, you forgot about it, you said that these are maybe fables, these are not true, these are old-fashioned stuff, and you rejected this. So since you denied and ignored my messages while you had chance in this world, I, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, am going to ignore you as well. The real happiness is something that a human being attains by fulfilling his objective in this world. And that makes sense. It's very scientific and very logical. If someone or somebody or something is created for certain purpose, then when this something is being used or utilized or put in an environment that is contrary to its purpose, then that something will not function well. Like a bird, if you put it in a cage, it's not like a wild bird in the garden flying wherever it wants. The freedom of human being and the purpose of human being was to fulfill the worship and submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this full submission to Allah is the full emancipation and full salvation and full freedom of mankind. And revolts against God and gets out of the circle of submission, he is basically entering into submission to others, less powerful, and he is humiliating himself more. So in this whole equation, money is not any factor really, because the containment and happiness resides in the mind and heart. Obviously, I mean by that you have your basic needs. That's that threshold and the minimum provisions that would let you support yourself and those who are dependent on you. Then look at those who commit suicides among the rich and very prosperous nations and countries. Think about Japan, Scandinavian countries, and many other Islam. They would feel happy even if their life seems miserable. And by that I don't mean that one should deprive himself from the richness of this world by force in order to enjoy this happiness. The material world, Allah gives it to mu'min and to kafir, to believer and non-believer. Okay. But this happiness and the containment, Allah only gives it to the believer. This material world weighs less than the weight of the wing of a mosquito. Janaha ba'uda, it's been mentioned in a hadith by Prophet Muhammad. And that's why it doesn't matter that a non-believer gets the richness and material enjoyment of this world. But the akhirah, the hereafter, the eternal life, is purely for those who have faith. One recent article, I think it was in New York Times maybe, drew my attention, is that there were this man who decided to change his gender and became transgender. He felt rejected by the society and was in a very miserable condition, that the best place for him was to stay in jail, in the prison, because at least there he can get, or she, as she wanted to identify herself in the latter half of her life, maybe felt that that's the best place, even though in the prison the life was hell, but that hell was better than be outside the prison. And in order to go to the prison, for example, she went to a bank and showed a piece of paper to the cashier saying that I have gun with me, give me the money. So after taking a whole bunch of money, she started to distribute outside and wait for the police to come to take her to jail, because that was the place she felt most comfortable, although it was a hell for her. So what I'm saying here is that that those who revolt against the natural disposition that Allah created this world with. And those who revolt against the natural religion, which is Islam, that the human beings are created for, by doing that, it's not guaranteed happiness. Rather, the opposite is guaranteed, basically, as is the case with this transgender man. Let me just conclude with this nice story. Ibn Hajar was a great scholar, and he was a very rich and influential in his time in the city of Cairo in Egypt. And once he was going along with his followers, riding a very nice and expensive horse, and there was a poor Christian or Jew, I forgot, and he was passing by and confronted Ibn Hajar, stopped him and asked him a question, saying that, I have heard that your Prophet had said that dunya jannatul kafir wa sijnul mu'min, that this world is the prison of believer and it's the paradise for the non-believer. So tell me, who is in prison and who is in paradise? So what he was saying is that I am a non-believer, but my life is miserable, and you are a believer and you are in a paradise with all your richness and these things. So he was talking about the materialistic world and having difficulty in understanding this hadith of the Prophet. So Ibn Hajar replied saying that when I enter Jannah and I see the bounty of Allah, that Allah preserved for the believers in the paradise in the hereafter, then all the richness that I am in now, it becomes comparatively like I am staying in a prison, waiting to get free from this prison and enter to this paradise, regardless of whatever richness I am in. And if you die in the state of non-believing and you enter the hellfire and see what is there, you will feel that you are really in paradise in this world. The material world, Allah gives it to believers and non-believers, and many examples of believers who are rich and many examples of non-believers who are poor.